So Icecrown Citadel is something different to everybody. To a lot of people, it is the best raid that has ever been in WoW. To others, it is a reminder of all of the times that they wiped on a particular boss. And to others, it's just a big imposing tower in the middle of Northrend. But what it isn't to many people is a lucrative gold farm. But thanks to these 5 items I'm showing you here on screen, this guide is able to tell you how you can make quite the killing by running Icecrown Citadel. So let's dive in. So the 5 items that I showed you up on screen have a combined value across all the European realms of roughly 570,000 gold, which is a truly fantastic return for doing one simple questline. But there is a caveat, and that is that this questline does take quite some time. Not in terms of how much playtime you're going to have to dedicate to doing the questline, that is actually quite minimal. But it will take numerous runs of Icecrown Citadel, and of course you can only do the runs once per week in their entirety. That is about the only drawback. The other drawback used to be that you would only be able to do one stage of this questline if you had help from other people, but this guide is going to show you how to do that stage by yourself, so it cuts out the middleman and makes it a lot more efficient. So step 1, as I alluded to already, is going to be to level up a character that is a warrior, paladin or death knight, preferably to max level, although you technically can do this on any character that is level 80 or above, but I do not recommend doing so as you probably will find it quite challenging to do so at minor levels. The character I'm using in this video is 110 and doesn't have any problem doing this, so anything of around that nature I would say is probably okay. But there is no reason why you can't just level this character to max before attempting this questline, as it will benefit you greatly. You can, however, only do this questline once per character, so if you do intend on doing this frequently, you may want to find a system by which you can level up these characters rather quick, or if you want to do multiple at the same time and you already have a main who's the same character type as the quest requirements, you can go and level yourself an alt and do it and offset it to what your main is doing. Now that you have the character ready that you want to run this quest on, all you have to do for stage 2 is to enter Icecrown Citadel and clear out all of the trash up to the first boss, leave the instance and reset it, and do that a few more times. Now, this is going to increase your reputation with the Ashen Verdict, who you do need to be friendly with in order to start the quest chain. Once you have achieved friendly status with the Ashen Verdict, you want to return to the entrance of Icecrown Citadel, where you will find Darian Mograine is now offering you a low level quest, so if he doesn't appear to have a quest for you to take, do remember to turn on trivial quest tracking, as this will then show up on your minimap for you. The first stage of this questline is going to be to acquire certain items for Darian, and they are as follows. Light's Vengeance, which you will find in a cave in Dragonblight. You simply have to enter the cave, start the little story process, and then kill the mobs and click on the hammer wherever possible. Very simple. Next, we have to acquire the acidic bloods of 2 of the bosses in Icecrown Citadel. These are Rotface and Festagut, who are found in the Unholy quarter of the instance. You will have to clear up to them, and you do not want to, however, kill anything that is not required for you to kill for this questline. I.e., you are going to kill all of the bosses up to and including Sourfang, and then progress directly to the Unholy quarter, where you will kill the 2 aforementioned bosses, but not the 3rd boss of the quarter. It is worth mentioning here that these items are a 100% drop chance, providing that you are doing this instance on 25-man heroic. Everything that you see here and everything that you will need to do in order to complete this quest chain will be on 25-man heroic version of Icecrown Citadel. The final item that you need to acquire is 25 Primordial Saronite. Now, these can be attained from killing the bosses of Icecrown Citadel, but I don't recommend that, as this is going to slow your overall time to completion. The alternatives are to purchase them on the auction house, and if they are relatively cheap then you can do that. However, there is a vendor in Old Dalaran that sells them, and they cost 150 gold each. I normally purchase my Primordial Saronite from the auction house, as it is usually the cheapest method. However, if you do need to buy a few from the vendor, feel free to do so. There is another vendor that is located inside of the instance itself that sells the items for 150 gold each. However, I normally buy them from the Dalaran vendors as they are located next to the auction house in Dalaran, and that tends to be more convenient as I have checked the auction house first for cheaper alternatives. Once you have acquired all of these items, you want to take them back to Darian Mograine at the start of the instance, and he will provide you with the next quest in the line. Now this is called a Feast of Souls, and it requires that you equip the new axe that you have acquired from the quest that you handed in previously, and then slay trash inside the instance using this axe. Now unfortunately you can't reset the instance because you've had to kill bosses in order to get to this point, so the trash at the start of the instance is out of commission. However, you are able to progress through the instance and kill any trash that you're able to find without killing any more bosses. There's always enough trash, provided you followed the steps so far, to be able to complete this quest. However, it should be noted that you will not get credit for these trash kills if you were to one-shot the mobs. The mobs need to have a debuff present on them that it does display, providing you have dealt damage to them while equipping the axe. If a mob does not have this debuff present on them for any given reason, you will not get credit. So personally, what I like to do is simply go up and auto attack swing with the axe equipped on the trash mobs, as this tends not to kill the mobs, and it does also then apply the debuff. Now the next step is called Unholy Infusion and is one of the easier steps of the quest, and all you have to do for this is head to the final boss in the Plague Quarter of ICC and have him aggroed so that he begins to fill the room with this slime. Once he has spawned 3 slime puddles, you want to lower the boss's health down below 80%, which will trigger him entering the next phase. As soon as he's started his animation to enter into the next phase, you want to go and right click on the table that he is standing at. This will transform you into an abomination. Once you are an abomination, you want to go and use the new buttons that are on your bar to go and consume the ooze that he has spread out around the room. And once you have reached 100 of the new resource that eating these pools has given you, you'll be able to press the new button on your extra action bar, which will infuse your Shadow's Edge with the Unholy Infusion. At this point, all you need to do then is allow him to kill the abomination and then kill the boss. Simple. Now the next stage of the quest line is called Blood Infusion and is by far the trickiest part of this quest line. This is normally the part that involves other people, and you certainly can use other people helping you out if you would like, but from this guide's perspective I'm looking at doing this entirely solo, so I'm going to show you the trick I use to be able to solo Blood Infusion. Now the reason why Blood Infusion is normally not soloable is because the boss in question, the final boss in the Blood Quarter of ICC, will provide a debuff on you that after a short period of time will turn you into a vampire that must bite one of your teammates. Obviously if you are by yourself, it's kind of hard to bite somebody else because there is no one else there. However, you can use a bit of trickery in order to get some of your own characters in there with you from the same account. Now, this is quite complicated, so I am going to break this down quite detailed for everybody, so please do bear with me. Now, in order to solo this, you will require 2 additional characters on your account that are level 80 and above, preferably considerably above, as they do need to be able to survive some of the damage of the fight. Now, all you have to use these characters for, essentially, is to be bitten, so you don't need to be particularly proficient with the characters, they simply need to be a high enough level to get into the instance and be present. So what you're going to want to do is get your main character up to the feet of the boss, park yourself in the middle of the room in front of the last boss of the Blood Quarter, and then open up your group finder and create a pre-made group. Then you're going to want to log off of your main and move on to the first of your 2 alts. When on your alt, you then want to go to the group finder and apply to join the group you created on your main. Log out of your alt and then log into your main. Accept the invite from your alt, log back into your alt and progress that character up to the same point where you logged out of your main. Then you want to repeat this process for the second alt so that all 3 characters are in the same group and are at the boss in question, logged off in the middle of the room. Now, This is where things get a little bit complicated, because we can no longer use the logout function to switch between characters, as we need to be very rapid and we will be in combat. So what we need to do is be familiar with our keyboard shortcut to exit WoW, which is Alt and F4, and you are going to be using this to swap between characters during the fight. So step 1 is going to be to log into your main and initiate the fight with the boss. All you need to do is just simply pull it and gain aggro. Once you have a debuff on you from the boss, this shows that the boss is going to be able to continue the fight with you, and you're going to press Alt and F4 and very quickly press play on your launcher, load up WoW and get into one of your alts. Once you log into your alt, you just want to log into the character. Notice that you are in combat. As soon as you have a debuff showing on your character, you can Alt F4 very quickly and log back into your main. Now once you are on your main, you want to target your alt, who will still be present despite having logged off to him due to being in combat. You can then bite that character at the appropriate time when the debuff expires. As soon as you have bitten that character, you then want to Alt F4 again. At this point, you're going to reopen WoW and log into your second character. Now when you log into your second character, it's the same as with the first. You want to get the debuff present to show that you are in combat. Then Alt F4, log back into your main and bite the second character. Then you want to proceed and do this same pattern again, logging into your first alt again, who will be cleared of the debuffs by virtue of being logged out for the second character to make room for him, and then you'll bite that character once again. At which point all you need to do is to Alt F4 one final time, log into your main and kill the boss. Having bitten 3 individual characters with your main, you did meet the criteria for completing the Infusion of Blood quest. So as soon as you kill the boss, you will be able to have that quest completion occur on the right of your screen in your objectives. Please note that if you mess up at any point and log into the wrong character, you do want to simply wipe and start again from the beginning of the process, as if you are to mess up, you can end up with your main being logged out instead of your alt, and that can be catastrophic. Also, if you did mess up and didn't wipe and proceeded, you would have to kill the boss in order to have confirmation that you had failed, and if you had, you would then have to wait until the next week in order to have the reset of the boss to be able to continue and complete the quest properly. Now that you have completed Blood Infusion, you want to go back to the beginning of the instance, you want to hand in the quest, and you want to pick up the quest for Frost Infusion. Now, Frost Infusion requires that you go to Sindragosa, the last boss of the Frost Wing of Icecrown Citadel, and it is much simpler than the other 2 infusions. All you have to do in order to complete this quest is continue to have the weapon equipped that you've been given by this questline, and then get beaten up, by which I mean you need her to use her breath attack on you 4 times. Now, the breath attack is only used when she is above 35% health, so please do not lower her health while this is going on, and also it is only used once between each of her takeoff phases. Now, this can take quite some time, but there is no risk of dying. She doesn't hit all that hard if you're using a higher level character. You can completely AFK, and unlike Blood Infusion, it's also easy to identify when the requirements of the quest are met, as you will gain a debuff saying that you are infused with Frost. At which point all you have to do is proceed to kill Sindragosa and head back and turn in this quest. Now all of the complicated parts of this questline are done, however we are left with the big grind part of this quest. Now, basically your next quest is to gather 50 Shadow Frost shards, and these are drops from all of the bosses of Icecrown Citadel. Now, these shards are not a 100% drop chance, and luck is a big factor in how quickly you can complete this quest. I would say on average I get roughly 5 or 6 a week whenever I do a full clear of ICC, and you do need to be doing this on 25-man mode. So what you want to do at this point, you should only have the Lich King left on your initial lockout to kill, so you want to go and kill him and hopefully get your first shard. Following on from here, all you want to do is wait for your weekly reset and go and completely clear the entire dungeon. Now, Obviously you could get lucky and you can get as many as 11 shards in a week, but you could get as few as 0. So this is the point where we simply have to be patient and wait for the weeks to roll by until we have gathered the 50 Shadow Frost shards. The good news, however, is that you are all but essentially done with the quest line now. Once you have gathered your 50 shards, simply go and hand this quest back in at the start of the instance to Darion, and you will get the next quest in the line, which is to kill the Lich King. When you kill the Lich King while possessing this quest, you will get a sealed chest. Take this chest back to Darion, and you will be given another chest which, when you open, has the 5 items required to hand in to other NPCs located at the start of the instance to gather the 5 items that you initially set out for. These 5 item hand-ins do also trigger little bits of RP, which can be interesting if you're into that sort of thing, and also by doing this questline you do acquire Shadowmourne, the Frostmourne sister blade in axe form. Now this is a nice thing to possess, but it isn't of any real use except for time walking instances in modern WoW, but it is nice to possess a legendary that not many others have. Certainly not bad when you consider it as just an added perk to the over 500,000 gold that you have just acquired. So that's going to be it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do like, comment or subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next one.